Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Introduce Investor Days. My name is Jesper Birch Jensen, and I work as an analyst here at ABG. And with us today, we have Lars Højgaard Hansen, who is the CEO of Invisio. So he's going to present the company. So with that said, please go ahead, Lars.
Thank you very much. As just introduced, Jesper said, our company name is Invisio. We used to be Invisio Communications, but we decided to shorten that just recently, so now we're just known as Invisio. And next slide, please, Jesper. We are in the business of helping and protecting people that work in very difficult lines of work, very noisy lines of work. It could be people within the army, the military, but also people within law enforcement, police, firefighting, and other situations where there is a very high need for good working communications and also being protected so that these important people do not get hearing damages or other damages that are not necessary because there are good equipment available. Invisio has actually this week been listed at Nasdaq Stockholm for 5 years. We are at mid-cap. Our main activities are in Copenhagen, where our research and development and our sales and marketing functions are, but we also have local companies in the US, in France, in Italy, and we are improving our presence as we speak in other areas of the world. Next please, Jesper. So in short, what we do is traditionally we have offered what we call a personal system, which is consisting of a communications headset, a so-called control unit, and then some cables that will interface to all types of communications equipment that our users have. So it gives them hearing protection, it gives them the opportunity to talk to each other and listen in very high noise environments, and they can interface to all types of radio equipment, mobile phone, intercom systems, and so on. Just recently, we have also introduced something called an intercom system, which I will come back to. It is an addition to our personal system, and it will now allow the users of our personal system to also have a portable light intercom system for use in different types of vehicles like ribboats, helicopters, and other types of transport vehicles. Next, please. Just shortly, of course, everyone is concerned about the spread of COVID-19 for the moment. Invisio is in a very fortunate situation to the extent that we have only seen limited effects of the virus spread so far. All our manufacturing is up and running and has been for the entire year. Our customer activities are normally characterized by long cycles, so this is nothing unusual to us. Even though trade shows and travel is restricted, we are still able to conduct business with our customers over phone or mail or as now over Skype. So we do have other opportunities to talk to our customers. And since we are very well established in the market, we also believe that we are able to sustain our business more or less as usual. We have a very good financial position, and we intend to carry out our plans for 2020 as originally planned. So still continuing to invest in areas that we see opportunities in for Invisio. Slide 5, please, Jesper. Just a short review on 2019, because that was an exceptional year for Invisio that we left. We got a number of new contracts. We also entered into especially the police and law enforcement area, and then we introduced our new intercom system to the market. In terms of new contracts, especially in the US, we had a very, very strong year. We had, as an example, a 5-year framework agreement with a customer within the US Army for almost 300 million Swedish krona, the largest framework agreement with any customer in the company's history. And in addition to that, we had a firm order from another customer for about 111 million, a program called Castle, which is meant to give the users improved communication abilities and hearing protection. Other customers in the US that we started selling to was the Marine Corps and so-called guardian angels that help support people that are stranded in very difficult areas. We were also awarded a so-called GSA status in the US, which means that basically any state, federal, or local government agency are now able to buy our products from pre-agreed pricing and delivery conditions. So this makes it a lot easier for both us and our customers to buy our products continuously in the US. Then in Europe, we had a new contract in the later part of the year with Belgium in partnership with Thales, a new army customer, and that gave us 2 new orders for about 50 million that we left the year with. In terms of law enforcement and police, that's an area that has increased in importance for us. And over the last couple of years, I would say, since opening our own office in the US, we have actually worked very diligently with entering the police market, both in the US, but definitely also in Europe and in the relevant parts of Asia. And what we saw in 2019 was a breakthrough on several fronts. First of all, we signed 2 framework agreements with the Swedish police, which will run for a number of years, and where we believe there's a very good opportunity for us to have a long-term relationship with the customer in Sweden and help them with their communications and hearing protection needs. Similarly, we have now started seeing contracts in Germany from different regional police forces. And last but not least, we got a breakthrough in Japan from the Japanese police that was in connection with the Olympics that are now postponed until next year. But anyhow, it's a very good breakthrough in Japan that will definitely give us an opportunity for increased volume in both law enforcement, police, and army in that region. And apart from that, we had a number of smaller orders from law enforcement customers in the US. So law enforcement is a prioritized area for us going forward. And then, as I said, the new Intercom system was launched at trade shows at the end of the year and has generated a lot of interest and has also added a significant amount of market potential to our company for the coming years. Next, please. So the year 19 ended with an all-time high, more than 500 million in revenue, and we have continued on that journey in 2020. First quarter was up with almost 75% in revenue towards last year, even though last year in Q1 was pretty weak. We still are proud of Q1 this year, which is actually the best Q1 in the history of Invisio. We had a good gross margin. There was one specific order that was a little lower, some cables that we could not have a very high margin on, but the rest of the business is running around 60% gross margin, very close to what we did for the full year 2019. We have continued to invest in our R&D and sales organization, and we also saw a couple of orders of significance from the US Army, from so-called SFAB units, that are specialist units that has been buying Invisio equipment for the last 3-4 years. So very good that they continue. And very happy to see that we actually got a first or second order for our new intercom system already, and we delivered a first delivery to a customer that has been waiting anxiously for their intercom systems for a long time, and they've been part of providing feedback to us through the development process. Page 7, our story so far. For the 5 years that we have been at the stock exchange, we set out with financial targets to grow revenue with about 20% in average. And looking back, we have achieved that, actually 20.6. We also set a target to have an operating margin that should not fall below 15%. And as you can see on this slide, we have managed to stay well above 15% while growing and while also still investing. Now, on page 8, you will see this is one of our favorite slides because it does show how much our business fluctuates and the industry we are experiencing very big variation from quarter to quarter depending on large orders, new contracts. So certain quarters we have high order intake, certain quarters is a lot less, and the same goes for the revenue, as you can see on the right-hand side. But once you look at the revenue on a rolling 12-month basis, on the right-hand side, the line, you can see that we are actually on a steady growth path and has been that since 2013. Next, please. So the market that we address is a global niche market where our customers are, in the beginning, they were found within military, but now also in law enforcement, security forces, and also to some extent within firefighting and all other societal service function. And the drivers are related to that these customers and countries are updating their communications equipment, modern radio communication, and also that they have a big and growing awareness around the effects of hearing loss, both on the individuals but also the cost for society. It is very, very difficult and very, very expensive to have many of these users being hearing impaired and having to provide them with hearing aids and compensation, and maybe that they're not able to work. On top of that, of course, the individual sufferings from having had a hearing loss from being at work. Invisio has developed a position over the last 10 years where we are definitely the global market leader in our space. We have achieved that by exceptional in-depth customer relations. We are very, very close to our key customers, and many of them have been part of developing our products, giving us input. Our business is also characterized by long framework agreements and programs where once you have a customer and you have a program, they will stay with you for a number of years, which keeps competition out. And then more and more we are seeing that our customers are actually asking for systems to buy, not only a product, but actually a system. And that's where our personal system and our Intercom system comes into play as what we can offer the market. Page 10, please. We have recently then, based on the development in both law enforcement and in the Intercom market, we decided to update our internal estimates of the market or the markets that we are addressing. Our initial market was the defense and military market, and that we have valued at about 5 billion SEK per year. But now entering the law enforcement market, there's a new market which has an addressable value of about 1.5 billion Swedish kronor per year on top. This is related to about 2.7 million police officers in the US, Europe, and selected countries in Asia. And of course, this is a market that we are now going to put more emphasis on, in addition to our military market. Next, please. Equally for the Intercom, it is a very, very interesting market. In total, our estimate is about 7 billion kroner per year addressable market, which is equal to the other markets that we have, the military and law enforcement. This market consists of two parts. One is for what we call a portable intercom system, which is the intercom system in a small bag. And here we are looking to address users that are in small jeeps, in riverboats, in helicopters, and that has a need for instant communication and being able to carry their intercom systems around with them. The second part of this market is more installed or semi-installed in larger transport vehicles, where the customers have a large fleet of vehicles where our intercom system is relevant for enabling the people being transported to talk to each other, but also to talk to the drivers and talk to the external world via the radio systems. And our little intercom system will help do that. So in total, we have, I would say, doubled our addressable market with our new focus on law enforcement and also the intercom system. On the following page, page 12, this was just a picture of the intercom in a bag where the portable system will consist of the Invisio intercom, which is about the size of an A4 page. Then they will have some radios. It could be satellite radios or special radios that they carry with them. antennas, battery, cables, and so. And from this backpack, the users, when they are in a boat or a helicopter or a jeep, will within a few minutes be able to set this up and connect this to their individual personal Invisio system. And then they can talk to each other, they can listen to the radios, they can use the radios in a very smart and efficient way that they are not able to do today. So a very new and promising area that will add more fuel to Invisio over the coming years. Page 13, Jesper. We have a simple strategy that we've been executing on for the past 3 years and are still doing so. 5 pillars that support us. One is increasing our market share in our existing markets. There is still a lot to do. Out of the 2 million addressable markets in the military, we have sold to about 10%, so there's still a lot of more users we can sell to in our markets in the US and Western Europe. So we work very hard to increase our market share. We also spend a lot of time and money on innovations and new products, broadening our product portfolio. That goes for our existing products, but also adding new products like the new Intercom system. Addressing new user groups is important, like with the law enforcement, and over time, I'm sure that more user groups will be added, but for now, it's the law enforcement that is prioritized for us. And expanding to new geographies is equally important, especially certain parts of Asia where we see similar needs and where we have now been present for 4 or 5 years. We have been seeing some progress in certain countries, like in Japan, and we know there's a lot more that can be done in that region. We are continuing to add focus and sales resources. Last but not least, a sustainable and cost-effective operations model is key for us. With a business that can fluctuate a lot between quarters, it's very important for us to be able to run this in a very sustainable and cost-effective way. We work with professional large contract manufacturers for our products, especially in Europe and in the US. My final slide, Jesper, 14, is just a summary. We are continuing to develop according to our strategy, and we will continue to invest in both product development and in our organization in 2020, especially in R&D and in sales. We came from a very strong 2019. We have seen a good start to 2020, and that gives us good condition for further growth and further investments throughout the year. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lars. I think we have time for some questions. First off, you mentioned early in your presentation that Invisio remains pretty much unaffected by COVID-19, at least in the short term. But I was wondering if you could say something specifically about the US market and the activity there recently, with states beginning to open up more and more. Have you seen an increase in activity, or what's the status over in the US?
Yes, I think it's a little bit state dependent, so a little bit different from which part of the country you are in, but it's definitely starting to open up slowly. As I said, I think we are benefited by the fact that we are well established in the US. We have existing contracts, framework agreements, and others, and we believe that our customers will continue to order from these agreements throughout the year. The only slight delay we might see is that certain documents that needs to be signed maybe takes a little longer when people are not physically in the same room, but at least the indication we have is that our customers are being asked to spend their money and use their budgets to help fuel the economy, and we have no indications that there is a slowdown among our types of customers.
Okay, and you also mentioned that one of your strategies for facilitating above 20% annual growth is addressing new user groups, and that the law enforcement user group is currently the one you're focusing on. I was wondering how do you approach that user group compared to your previous one? Can you utilize your same sales organizations, or are you having to make changes within the organization to address it? It
will be a combination. to a great extent, the product portfolio is the same for law enforcement, at least the top tiers of the law enforcement and our military customers. So from a distribution point of view, it is sometimes a little bit different because we don't have the same large tenders and programs as we see on the military side. So it's more of a distribution sale to get out to many of the smaller units. And there we are already having a very good distribution setup. So, but from a user point of view, from a need point of view, product point of view, it is pretty much similar. But there is some differences on the sales point. But often the partners that we work with in certain countries, they address both the military and the law enforcement markets. So it is pretty similar.
Okay, and is there a specific market where you're especially interested in the law enforcement user group? I know the US is big, but you've mentioned before, it's very fragmented in their decision making, but is there one specifically that you're after?
I would say, of course, the US is very, very interesting for us because it is 50% of the addressable market. So, and there is so many different types of law enforcement and police in the US. So that is definitely the top priority for us. But also a number of countries in Europe, Western Europe, are very interesting for us. As we said, we already have a breakthrough in Germany and in Sweden. So Scandinavian countries, Western Europe, and then also certain parts of Asia where the numbers are high and where we also know that there is a need for modern radio communication. So I think we have good opportunities in all geographies.
And lastly, you've built up quite a sizable cash position, and I know you're continuing investment in R&D in your sales organization. But are there some other investment opportunities out there you could see, or is that going to be the main focus going forward?
In these difficult times, I think it's very nice to have a good cash position, and we have used it in different ways. We have also, for 18 months now, been having a sizable stock of fresh products that we can sell, but that has been a good advantage for us also in these times. So we are able to deliver to customers with a very short notice. So that is actually a competitive advantage to be able to deliver with a short notice. So that's one part. From a acquisition point of view, we've said many times that we think we are the market leader and we are far ahead of many others. So any acquisition would probably more be related to technology or smaller types of additions. So we would like to spend our resources on increasing our spends on innovative R&D and sales activities. So we continue slowly but surely to add R&D resources, sales resources in the areas where we see opportunities.
All right. I think that's all the questions we have time for. Thank you, Lars, for joining us today and presenting Invisio.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.